On the credits, I guess it's Michael Jackson first.
It's it's Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney release, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Okay. Even though, like, the credits sometimes say something different depending on who wrote, more or whatever.
Who wrote this one?
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm learning.
Okay. Yeah. It's it's written by Michael Jackson, apparently. Apparently. But
yeah.
I mean, there's been two, at least, two that I know of, 2 copyright infringement suits brought against him for this song.
Really?
Yeah.
By
a songwriter that provided CBS with a duet demo called Please Love Me Now. He supplied this in 1982, but this song was written before that, I think. So he's got thrown out.
Okay.
Yeah, so he didn't get anywhere with his. But then there was another one in 1993 that it was some old school friends. No, not old school friends, old neighbours. 2 guys that knew him when he was young. And they said that they thought that he might have stolen this song or this melody or whatever from one of theirs. And I can't find their songs anywhere. I don't think they're available.
It's got to be bollocks, hasn't it? They're just trying to make a buck.
Yeah, well, he had to go through a whole massive 3-hour deposition, which is fascinating because it tells you exactly how he wrote it. And there's even a tape of him beatboxing his way through the early sketching out of the idea.
Yeah. And that was an early beatbox, was it?
This is how Michael Jackson writes. This is how he writes. He's not a sitting at a keyboard kind of or guitar kind of writer. He's more just makes all the sounds that he hears in his head. He says that it comes to him. He doesn't know where it comes from. It just comes and it's just channeled. And he would use a tape recorder and beatbox his way through a song, doing the vocals, doing what he thinks the rhythm should be, adding strings and stuff like this, and naming it while he's doing it. So he'll like do a noise and say strings. It's really, really good.
I'm definitely going to listen to that.
There's a strange thing in it though, where he kind of explains, and I don't know why he's explaining it on his own tape. It's coaching himself. It's like, don't write it, just let it write itself. Just let it come to you. Does he know that this is going to be a deposition at some point in his life?
That is weird.
Yeah, so, did he write?
So you're saying that tape could be fabricated?
Well, it's like what
4-track.
Yeah, why has he said that during the recording of it? Like, does he say that every time you record something on a tape?
Just feel it. Just
feel it. It's just, Michael, don't try and write it. Don't create it. Let it create itself.
I have seen no reason to doubt Michael Jackson on this one. Like, he's just coaching himself. He's a spiritual man. Although, actually, if I was fucking recording something with beatbox and, I wouldn't put that on the recording. I'd be like, Ross, just feel it. Come on. Okay, now, go. 3, 2, 1. Then I'd press record.
The best thing about this is the opposing attorney, because Michael Jackson just he can't help himself but sing along with it. And he's grooving to it. And he even kind of predicts bits that come up that weren't in the later version, that were just in this demo, this tape. And at the beginning of the tape, he says, I haven't heard this in years. And it's like, you don't know what to think about this. But the other attorney is just like, objection, no questions. He's only allowed to answer questions. He's not allowed to just talk freestyle.
Oh yeah.
So he's playing. So he's just like going longer. It's great.
That sounds great. I mean, he's probably just like can't help himself.
Basically. He can't help himself,
and he's nervous as well. It's probably.
He's totally high as well on painkillers because he's got some wisdom tooth stuff going on. I'm not sure if they're being taken out or had been taken out or what. But he had lots of painkillers during the time, and he's groggy at certain points.
I mean, he's pretty painkillered up for most of his life, isn't he? Until you can't be that big, that successful without
For that long.
painkiller addiction for that long, without chomping on a few extra curricular
biscuits,
goodies. Never again. Yeah. So okay, so this song, man. I mean, yeah.
Let's talk about the song because it's just I love it.
It's probably my first introduction to the idea of the duet as well.
Yeah, I mean, other than maybe you might have heard things from musicals, or you might have heard the duos like Simon and Garfunkel or the Everly Brothers or something like that. You may have heard, but this as two stars put together for the purpose of a pop duet. I think this has got to be my first.
When was it released?
82.
82. So I would have been 5. So I think this is, and my dad pretty much got it as soon as it was released. I remember that, and everyone was so into it. So it probably would have been the first thing. I mean, Garfunkel and Simon, or Simon and Garfunkel, which is their common name.
Because Garfunkel was the lead writer, right?
Yeah, but they just covered it up because Simon's a bastard. Yeah, I mean, you can tell Simon, much more successful, business brain, manipulated poor old fluffy face Garfunkel.
Well, not fluffy face.
Not really fluffy. I always think he had a fluffy face, but it's probably his hair leading.
He's not Jeff Lynne.
Okay, does Jeff Lynne have a fluffy face?
Jeff Lynne's like Art Garfunkel, but all 360 all over his head.
Shit. So is Art Garfunkel though, kind of. Although
it's like a space. It's like a space helmet, like an open space helmet of fluff.
Okay. Yeah.
Just around the top and around, like a crown, like a pagan kind of sun god.
Yeah. And he's always got a very sort of beatific smile on his face, hasn't he, Garfunkel?
Yeah.
Kind of or just high. I don't know. Okay, well, we diverged. Let's get back on the 6 degrees.
Let's get back to the song.
Yeah. So, yes, it was the first duet probably I heard, and I fucking loved it. Yeah. And all the little bits.
It's just so sweet.
It just grows and grows. Just more little harmonies kick in.
And it's
then the middle 8.
Super breezy.
Yeah.
Just breezes on. It's like that muted guitar kind of rhythm and the finger snap. It's just, beautiful.
Totally. So this was, okay. Michael Jackson wrote this. Paul McCartney agreed to sing it.
It's been proved twice in court that he...
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Due to legal reasons, we should say that Michael Jackson wrote this. Yeah.
Paul McCartney has no basis to fight for the rights to this one.
So Michael Jackson was like, "Hey, I got this song. It's about us fighting over a girl."
It was apparently Quincy that got him to write it. That's what he said. That's what Michael says.
Mm.
What had just happened is, at this time, Ebony and Ivory had just come out.
Right.
So I think there was you've written with Paul before, haven't you, Michael? Why don't you get Paul to do this with you?
The sort of ebony ivory dollar.
Well, Paul and Michael had already recorded some stuff together in the previous year. So say, and another one that were released a couple of years later that didn't get out until the Pipes of Peace album.
Oh.
So they'd already recorded because Michael Jackson somehow got Paul's number and cold called him in late 80, like a couple of weeks after John Lennon got shot. Right.
Shit. That's a bit suspicious, isn't it?
It is a bit suspicious. When you read some of what Quincy has said about Michael Jackson, because Quincy came out with this interview in 2018, just before he was released. I think he had a big special on Oprah Winfrey, and he had a documentary come out on Netflix, and he was like doing the press, and he has this interview, an extraordinary interview, where he just kind of just calls everyone out, and he said that Michael Jackson was a Machiavellian motherfucker.
Really?
Yeah, he says that he stole a lot of stuff, stole a lot of songs. He reckons that Billie Jean was stolen from State of Independence, the Donna Summer hit.
Mm.
He says that Don't Stop Till You Get Enough was part written by the keyboardist, Greg Fillinganes, but he didn't get any credit for it. Oh. So, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some kind of truth in some of these lawsuits that came up. Who knows?
Mm.
Who
Perhaps.
knows? Yeah. But he also had a go at McCartney.
Mm.
Just said that he was, the Beatles were the worst musicians he'd ever heard.
When did he say that?
He said this on this interview, this same interview.
So Quincy's saying that.
Quincy. I mean, come on. Quincy's played with he's arranged and he's conducted and he's programmed festivals and stuff with the best musicians the world's ever seen. So he can kind of get away with saying stuff like that, can't he? Especially when he's talking about Ringo not being able to keep some time when he was recording him back in 1970.
To be honest, yeah, Quincy can get away with that. Yeah. All right then. But so I was just asking, it wasn't Michael saying that he thought the Beatles were the worst musicians he's ever heard.
No.
Because Michael loves the Beatles,
Quincy.
doesn't it?
Oh, Michael does, yeah.
Is a lover, not a fighter, obviously. He's a lover of Macca.
He is.
And his music.
Yeah.
And he loved it so much that he bought it all, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah. And what happened there?
He warned him.
Michael Jackson. Yeah. Because I was watching that documentary and he's like, I'm going to buy your music. And I'm going to buy all your songs. And McCartney's just going, yeah, okay, all right. And I'm going to buy him. And he keeps on saying it, and then he does. And it's a bit weird, that, isn't it? How do you explain it? It is. Yeah.
It is, because he's kind of like threatening him in a. I think he uses his childish kind of charm, but underneath he can wind people up. I think he likes. You're saying when he recorded with McCartney, they had loads of fun. It was his best time in the studio because they were like kibitzing. I've never heard that phrase before, but I think it's like Jewish word for what, like just taking the piss, like having fun.
Okay.
Winding each other up. I probably said that wrong, but I think he likes to just play games and stuff. He's just very childish and silly. But then, is there some kind of underlying kind of kind of Machiavellian stuff, like Quincy says?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it. If he's kind of this song, "The Girl Is Mine," obviously Michael wants it to be his song and come out on his record, and he also wants to buy Macca's, songs in the future. So does he want to get one over on Macca? Because
it's fun to think that.
I think I'm going to think that. Yeah, because in the song, let's face it, Macca wins, really. He wins the girl.
Macca pisses all over him because because McCartney almost, there's the bit at the end where he kind of just goes, I think it's in the spoken bit. Yeah, it's in the spoken bit where he just goes, and just does this kind of sigh, like, just stop it. You're not going to win. I'm gonna win this. He says, I've heard it all before. And then he lays down his tongue twisting truth. Like, she told me that I'm her forever lover, don't you remember?
Yeah, but after loving me, she said she couldn't love another. Yeah, but you just don't believe anything that Michael says. You're like, well, she would definitely go with the older man who looks like he's funny and charming rather than the weird sort of lizard boy.
Yeah, the new alien on the street.
Yeah. Although maybe, who knows, that back then Michael maybe was seen as an attractive man. How do you think?
He was beautiful.
Of course, yeah.
That is like peak Jackson looking beautiful time, isn't it?
Yeah. So do you think if there was really like this sort of rivalry between them. Do you think Macca in any way thought that, you know,
No,
Jackson was a
doesn't
rival?
care. No, not at all. I think he's totally like, I just want to, you know, this guy's cool. I just want to, you know, why not have fun with him? Like, I think he just was up for maybe widening his audience, you know, like with Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, and he was like, because he just finished with Wings, so he was like a solo artist now, and he was just about to bring out his Tug of War album, which is after McCartney 2, which was his like self-contained kind of on his own album, wasn't it? And then he did Tug of War, which is back with George Martin and Jeff Emerick, and it's like huge production kind of stuff. So he was going for the big time again.
He wants to work with as many people, you know, inflate his fan base, you know.
Yeah.
You know, get his career to take off even further than.
Yeah, I think Wings had run its course, and he was like, right, you know, I can do this better on my own with just my name. And yeah.
Sorry, me.
Oh, okay.
Which is really annoying.
Is it Michael Jackson? Because he does get numbers. He just finds numbers. He just calls people up. Like he called Will.i.am up, didn't he?
He did. And they made a remix together, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. In 2008.
Yeah. That's pretty bad. It's funny. Do you think it was Michael Jackson's idea to get rid of Macca?
Oh, fucking hell.
I want to make another version, but without that old bastard all over it, waddling all over it. This is when the girl.
This is when he was actually at Loggerheads. Well, not Loggerheads, because I think he just ignored him. McCartney has said, like, subsequently, he would try and get a bit more money from his deal, that from the publishing deal that Jackson had control of, and he was like, come on, you know, can you just give me a bit more, you know?
Yeah.
And Jackson was like, just ignored him. So maybe, Jackson was like, get Paul out, because I was thinking it's Will.i.am. He's just trying to, you know, gag in on it and break in and just kind of put his own, because you've got him kind of saying ridiculous stuff over the top, like she's mine, all this kind of stuff. I thought, but maybe you're right.
Will.i.am coming in.
Yeah. Maybe you're right. It's Michael. She likes the way out. She likes the way out.
Yeah. I mean, listeners, have a listen for yourselves if you want. I mean, you can skip it, I think. So you should skip it after a few minutes, because it doesn't. Well, a few seconds. But that's funny that he would be prepared to put that out, really, when it's just such a poor, you know, version of the original.
Yeah, it's like, what does he do? It sounds terrible. He starts with like a kind of sexual healing Marvin Gaye like drum intro, and then he puts these bass farts all the way through the verse while Michael's singing. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What is going on? You lost all the breeziness and the lightness of the song, and just turned it into like just terrible, like a cheap modern song.
It's a feat, isn't it? It's a featuring. It's it just means that the other person has to go yo yo whatever over the top.
Yeah,
here and there.
It's a feat,
and it removes the duet, like the whole story, because the duet has a little story. The original.
It was written as a duet.
Yeah,
it wasn't written as a feat.
No. so basically, like, how did Macca lose all his rights to his songs then?
Oh, well, that was to do with Dick Francis, wasn't it? I think Epstein and Dick Francis, who's the publisher for the...
Dick James or Dick Francis?
Sorry, who's Dick? Dick Francis is an author.
Dick Francis writes funny like books with like bums with jumpers and horses.
Down pilots, maybe.
Maybe down pilots that are downed in a sort of in a horse sanctuary, and then find women with jodhpurs and whips.
What? You're Jilly Cooper.
Jackie France. Oh, Jilly Cooper, yeah.
Or
Oh,
Jackie.
Oh God, Jackie Collins.
Jackie Collins.
I think they just had the same sort of font.
Cover art.
Why I got confused. Yeah. And I had to like make a big fuck up just to match yours, so you don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
You know. So Dick
Jones.
Dick Jones.
No.
Okay. James.
Is it Dick James?
Dick James.
Dick James.
He owned the original manager, was he, of the Beatles?
No. What happened was Dick James, Epstein, Lennon, and McCartney all made a company called Northern Songs, and it was majority owned by Dick James.
Okay.
So they owned the publishing to the Lennon-McCartney songs and George and Ringo's many hits.
Mm.
So they, I think Lennon and McCartney only had 20% of that each. So Dick James had about 50, Epstein had about 10, and McCartney and Lennon had 20 each. And Dick Francis, Dick James, he sold it in '69. After kind of, I think he kind of had some. McCartney and Lennon were trying to get more out of the deal, and Dick Francis. Oh God, I can't stop saying Dick Francis.
Just say Dick Francis. We know who you mean.
Anyway, he sold it, and it got sold to ATV Music, and then Michael Jackson bought ATV Music. Paul McCartney didn't want to rebuy the rights to his songs for an extortionate amount of money.
As you wouldn't, yeah. And
Jackson wouldn't kind of re-deal with him and re-deal with how much him and John Lennon's estate got for all those songs.
It reminds me actually of when I got my Variflex skateboard stolen from down near the down the road. After a while, Mum said, "Okay, I'll get you another one." Went to the skateboard shop in Burgess Hill, and outside there was this guy skating around on what looked like the very same Variflex skateboard that I'd never seen anywhere else. I didn't even want fucking Variflex anyway. It was all my fucking annoying dad would pay for. But yeah, and there it was, just skating outside, and I was like, I don't want to have to buy this new one when that's my skateboard out there. So that's how Macca must have felt.
Well, he didn't buy it in the first place. He made it. He created it. He made the skateboard. yeah. And then someone else just had it. Bought the rights to that skateboard.
Yeah. Without him even saying that they could. And he didn't even want to give the skateboard away.
Well, no, because
I don't know.
Because when he created that skateboard, his dad, owned the pen that drew that skateboard, and because it's his dad sold. He had more control.
Yeah. Poor little skateboard maker.
And that's how we remember Paul McCartney.
As a Variflex skateboard creator. But this song is much better than a Variflex skateboard.
It is. It's fantastic.
It's very good. Like one of the best middle eights.
It's wonderful, isn't it? It just flies.
It is wonderful. It flies. Yeah. Then you got the whole conversation at the end, which those the bits I remember.
That's the bit I remember the most. And also what I remember, of course the "I don't believe you," how he comes out of the conversation. It's like he just breaks out of it, like back into the song.
Do you think that was an ad lib? I don't believe you know the girl. Mine. And then like they add the harmonies, mine, into that bit, and it locks the ad lib back into the song.
I think it was an ad lib.
Yeah. Nice that. Mine.
The other thing that I did want to say, do you remember the because I used to look at this. I used to look at the LP lyrics sheet, because this was the on the Thriller album. It would be the record sleeve with the one, the paper one inside that the record comes out of. that's the lyrics. And on each side, there's a little sketch by Michael Jackson in the middle. And one of them is his kind of idea of Thriller, maybe, you know, before they did the video, I don't know. Well, yeah, because they didn't do the video for like maybe a year after the album was released. So this must have been well early on, his idea of Thriller. And it's got a picture of like the TV and they're watching a horror film and the kind of arms are coming out. It's a good little sketch. And then on the other side is a sketch for The Girl Is Mine. And this one's a bit more disturbing because it's got Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney, a really good caricature of Paul McCartney. His face looks just like, you know, that kind of baby face McCartney with the long eyelashes that all the girls went wild for in the early 60s.
Yeah.
And they're both wearing kind of preppy clothes, which Michael Jackson was really into at that time. If you look at all his releases, all the single releases from the Thriller album, he's just wearing a selection of like bow ties and sweaters and a coat.
Oh. Did you hear that?
Yeah. Okay, you better go.
Stepped out to mine. Little sound I heard. Mine. And it is the harmonies. Mine. Hello. Mine. Better go.
Okay.
The harmonies.
All right,
Mine. See you later.
See you later.
Mine. The harmonies.